What's up, YouTube? You checking out the Frequent Flyer, and this is my quick review of the LishiToys L6055 multi-purpose vehicle. And this is a quadcopter that transforms into a car, and I must say that this thing is awesome. And this thing is awesome more so because of the driving portion of it. The quadcopter form isn't bad. The quadcopter form is nice, but what holds the quadcopter form back from being great is the fact that it doesn't have a lot of pitch. They don't give you a lot of pitch, not much at all, and the yaw is a little slow. Other than that, the quadcopter form is nice. It has a barometer. Well, might be a little far from you guys to be able to see that on the box, but it does have a barometer in here, so it does hold its height. The transmitter self-centered, the throttle stick self-centers. So I guess that's a new trend that's been coming out with these toy quads, that they have height hold. And the height hold on the quadcopter form works pretty well. It doesn't fly away on me like the hubs, and it doesn't have any problems with connectivity or anything like that. It just holds its height pretty nicely, but the problem is you're not going to be doing any sporty flying with the quadcopter form, and I guess that's not bad at all. But when you consider the fact that the look that this thing has, it has a really sporty look. I think that could be deceiving. You know, having a quadcopter that looks like a race car, and then it's flying docile. So the quadcopter form is pretty much a docile camera platform, it seems like, because it's very steady. It holds a really nice hover, and with that barometer, that set height hold thing, it makes it really stable for video capture. And it does have a port for a camera on the bottom there, and on the box there is also references to a camera, so you can get a camera for this, and the camera looks like it's pretty nice. Like, you can swivel the lens and aim it up and down and stuff like that. And I thought that would be pretty awesome to have a camera on this thing as well. But more so, I'm more interested in the car form. This thing drives really nice in car form. It has a lot of torque in car form, and it's four-wheel drive, and each one of these wheels independently spins. So an accelerometer is working when it's in car form. This thing can flip over, and it has some kind of sensor, or maybe it's the accelerometer, I'm not sure, or the gyro. It senses that it's upside down. I didn't see any infrared port or anything on here like the Hypertrax from Air Hogs, but this does do it when it flips over. But you have to give it a second. For a second, it still thinks it's right side up, and when you try to go forward, it'll go backwards if you do it right away when you flip it over. But then after maybe about a second, it'll register that it's upside down, and then forward to be this way again. So, and this thing is pretty much unstoppable. I've rode this thing over large rocks. It jumps over shoes and all. This thing climbs my kid's sliding board. This is an awesome, unstoppable vehicle. I've been thinking about taking it out in the snow, because it seems like everything, there's no well, actually there is, on second thought, there are air vents on the tops of the wings of the wheels. So I won't do that. It probably a break with moisture get in it. But this thing really drives really nice. I've driven it on dirt outside. It's a blast. It's pretty fast, especially for indoors, but when you get it outside, compared to like some of these other cars that are out there by LishiToys or whatnot, this might be a little slow compared to those, but it picks up some speed when you switch this thing into high. It has two speed rates in car mode and in copter mode. So but in copter mode, when you switch it to high, it hardly even does anything. It's barely noticeable. You still don't have a lot of pitch with it, and the yaw's a little slow. It does do flips in quadcopter form, nice flips, and so it's just, I guess it's okay in quadcopter form. It doesn't blow you away or anything like that. It just does what it's supposed to do. But this car form was a real shocker for me. This thing is just awesome in car form. And my kid, it's a blast. My kids love it. One of my kids actually fell on it and cracked this part here. It looks like a little bug, a racing bug or something. These look like eyes here. So it looks like his little face is cracked or whatnot. But I have seen in the back of the manual that they do have parts. So hopefully the parts become available, because this part here, it moves fast enough to actually damage it when you put it in high. And I backed this thing up really fast into the radiator and it cracked the lighting lens right here a little. But for the most part, this thing is pretty durable. I've been crashing it, jumping it off of the top of the sliding board that my kids have. I've been crashing it outside, flipping it over, and this thing been taking a lot of abuse. And as you can see here, some of the logo and all the print here is off it, the paint, because what I did was I strapped an FPV system onto it. That FPV system that I had it mounted on top here, and I had it being held on with some tape. I've tried the bottom as well. It works both ways. It does have clearance on the bottom for a camera under there. So if you get the camera that goes to this thing, it'll be awesome. But I was driving this thing around FPV, and it was pretty awesome to drive it around in the house FPV and go up the sliding board and all of that. And the only problem when I had the camera on top, if it flips over, I can't drive anymore. So I put it on the bottom, and I was good to go on the bottom. When it flips over, I just flip it back. Oh yeah, this thing has so much torque that in high, if you slam it one direction and then the other direction really quick, it'll pop a wheelie and even flip over. So you can easily get this thing to flip back over. If it flips over and you don't want it on that side, you just hit one direction and the other direction really quick, and it'll just flip itself over. That's how much speed and torque that it has. It stops on a dime when you're going full speed forward and you hit the other direction. This thing stops on a dime and does endos and all types of nice things. So pretty awesome in car form. The lights are working so you can drive it at night in car form. Just a really awesome vehicle, and you can run this thing for about 10 minutes. So you get long driving times with it if you're driving it really hard. I imagine if you're not doing a lot of stunts and driving really fast, you're probably going to get more than 10 minutes. And in quadcopter form, I really haven't flown it until LVC on quadcopter form. I guess I just really hasn't been that interested in the quadcopter form. I have flown it around a little and tested it, but I never actually flown it into LVC, and that's partially because of the weather too. It's been very windy and cold here, and so I probably wouldn't get an accurate assessment of its battery life anyhow. But the wind is just too much for this thing in quadcopter form because it hardly has any pitch. So I imagine you probably will get decent flight times out of it though, because of the fact that you don't have a lot of pitch. So you're not going to be doing any hard maneuvering or stressing the motors unless you just flip it a lot. But for the most part, the battery life is great with it. It comes with a somewhat large 900 milliamp hour battery, but the battery is flat. And I think this is a 30C battery because I have a hexacopter with an 800 milliamp hour battery, and it looks just like this. It's a little shorter though, and I get the same response out of that in here as I do with this. Just a lot of punch and a lot of power. So this might be a 30C and up. This charge rate might be 35C, but it's a 900 milliamp hour battery, and it's pretty flat, and it's light. It's surprisingly light. So this thing is awesome. And it does have headless mode and quadcopter form and one key return. And so it does have camera buttons here to start and stop the video and take pictures, but I don't have the camera version. This here actually does the flips. It looks just like the LishiToys transmitters of the other models that I have. I imagine that I probably can put that LCD screen here like I did before in one of my other mods on the videos. Well, I actually just swapped them, but that's for another video, I guess. But this thing is pretty awesome. And it comes with an extra set of spare props. As you can see, I have all 8 props in there, the props that it came with, and the extras are in there. It comes with this wrench tool here to get the props and the wheels off and on. There's one nut on here that's real, and you could have to screw this off and transform it actually into the quadcopter form, and vice versa. The wheels are pretty heavy, and but they're actually rubber, so that's really good. It's not foam or anything like that. So I would imagine that this is better than the Cyma car in driving form. I think this thing, the selling point on this is probably going to be the driving form, because this thing is really awesome in driving form. Now, the battery, it comes with a USB charger for the battery as well. Oh, you get 2 of those wrench things in there, 2 of the wrench tools, and you get 4 nuts in there. I'm not sure what the nuts are for, because I didn't come across any nuts when I was putting the thing, taking it apart and stuff like that. And it does have a JST connector type on the battery. And so the instructions manual is really nice. The instructions manual actually is very legible English, explains everything really nicely, and at the end it has another version of it in Chinese, but for the most part this thing is really nice. So that's it, the LishiToys L6055 multi-purpose vehicle quick review. Thanks for watching.